Hello, welcome to this edition of the Tea Club. I'm going to explain the offer that we've put together for the fall. I'm really excited about these teas that I'm going to explain to you and brew a little bit of tea too. So for the fall's a type of season that's always changing, right? I mean, there's some nice, at least here in Spain, we don't have a clear, distinct fall. There's some days that are more hot, so like the end of summer. Be very hot days, it's more windy, rainy, you start to feel the winter, you know, it's an in-between season. So I decided to do a mix of teas to cover kind of like any situation. So whatever the season, whatever the day, rain or shine, one of these teas will pretty much be perfect. And that's pretty cool. So the first tea I wanna explain to you is this one. So it's a Japanese tea. It's called awabancha, and awabancha is a fermented tea from Japan. Its appearance, if you've been with us for a long time, you might have had kyobancha here years ago, which has a similar appearance to this because it's bancha leaf. Bancha leaf is the big leaf. Yeah, it's the older, more mature leaf. But that's a green tea that's roasted. This is a fermented tea, and I'm going to be brewing this tea actually. Since I'm going to be brewing it while talking, the first thing I'm going to say is that this tea, it's a fermented tea that would be lovely when brewed in a pot. Really, a running boil is the best way to make this tea. But I'm gonna just brew it today in a lovely shiboridashi. Just gonna preheat a second. Always preheat your teaware. This is a shiboridashi. It's made by Czech potter Petr Novak. And so I'm going to just take some leaves and I'm going to put them in here. This is an alternative way of brewing this tea. They're very light and fragile feeling. So you actually would put quite an amount, like visually it looks like a lot of tea, but in case you don't know, it's not really important how visually it looks. I mean, it is important knowing the tea, but it's not that you have to fill your vessel. It's a matter of weight, and you want to use for a size like this at least 3 grams. But as I said, you shall boil it. If you're a club member, then you've received the instructions on how to boil it. If not, you can ask me for more information about boiling the tea. I just want to brew it while we start talking because I really feel like starting with this tea. I'm really in the mood for it. The leaves are very autumn-like themselves, right? So dry, so light. They look like freshly fallen leaves, and so I think that's a great tea to start this fall presentation. Another reason why I love this tea for the fall is its properties. It's a very digestive tea. I mean, just it's fantastic for the whole digestive system with rich in probiotics and glutamine and aspartic acids that are fantastic for our system, our digestive system. And in mouth, so you might have tried other fermented teas from China, from Japan. From Japan, we've had before Narishiko, the Japanese beauty, and we've had, of course, we have now Goishicha, another very famous Japanese fermented tea. This awabancha is also another famous fermented tea that dates back to the 9th century, for to believe its origin stories. You can read more about origin stories for this tea. I take origin stories with a grain of salt, but they do believe it's from the 9th century, and it's at least in the town where they make it in Tokushima, they talk about it coming with the beginning of the coming of Buddhism. That a Buddhist monk brought this technique, and that's what they've been doing ever since. They're on this island of Shikoku. It comes from Tokushima and in Shikoku. Should be about ready. So this tea is made with Zarai varietal. Zarai is actually not a varietal, but there's no other way to really say it. Zarai trees, and Zarai means seed grown, so they're wild. They're not one cultivar. We've spoken about this in other videos, but I'll repeat myself because it might be your first time watching. But I love Zarai. I love these unique varietals where, so tea is a sexual plant where every seed is unique and different. And if you want to have all your plants to be the same varietal, you have to clone them, and that way you're guaranteed this kind of stable profile and also growing conditions and needs. And Zarai, each tree is an individual and unique and different, and has different needs maybe, and different forms of expressing itself, different notes and all of that. So any kind of tea that's Zarai is really interesting, very full of nuances. And anyway, so they use Zarai leaves for this tea. The aroma is interesting. It's very sweet and sour. The first notes we get is more actually first I'm noticing more the sour, even like a sauerkraut kind of. It brings us to the world of fermented vegetables. And in the end, that's what it is. It's a fermented leaf. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about how this fermented tea is made, because it's a very different tea. The freshly harvested leaves are boiled for 20 to 30 minutes, and then afterwards they're rolled to break down the cell walls. This is usual for what the purpose of rolling is, to break down the cell walls and have the enzymes start coming out. And then the leaves are taken to a fermentation barrel, and they've added lactic acid for the fermentation. So kind of similar to the way milk is converted into yogurt. These leaves and lactic acid are put in a fermentation barrel, and then covered with straw or palm leaves or banana leaves, covered then with rocks to keep it all in place, and left undisturbed then for a month. Afterwards, so the soaking in the juices is fermenting in this mix, and then the leaves are finally taken out, spread out on straw mats, dried, preferably sun-dried, which reactivates all the microorganisms, and then dried, and that's it. That's what we have here. And then you have these beautiful, or I find them beautiful, just flat, open, natural-looking leaves with, and this tea has a lot of umami also. A little bit citric. So like I said, one way to do it is like this. Another way is to do it on a pot or in a kettle. This is a wonderful side handle pot. That's actually a side handle pot, but that also works as a kettle. Also made by Petr Novak, the artist who did the shiboridashi. This is another fantastic way, because you can just put it on the fire and then take it out and pour it. And the leaves can be reboiled numerous times. It's nice even if you add a little pinch of salt to it. And so I hope you enjoy this tea in the fall. Another reason with the digestive properties I find to be really, I find that in the fall, our body after the summer and heading towards the winter, it's a good time to drink a lot of digestive teas, because soon as we head into the winter, we usually eat more, and it's nice if we go into the winter, feeling good. This is exactly what I wanted to start this my day here. Okay, the next tea. It's an Oolong tea from Taiwan. It's long leaf like this, so it's baozong. Baozong can be a traditional baozong that's roasted, or it can be a more modern style, like this one that's more green. And so this is a Yingshuan baozong. So baozong of the Yingshuan varietal. So it's actually, we could say it's a milk baozong. Yingshuan is the golden lily varietal that's used to make milk oolong. What we really call milk oolong, what they call milk oolong in Taiwan, which is this varietal Yingshuan, not aromatized tea with aroma of milk added. That's not milk oolong. That's a aromatized tea. So yeah, milk oolong tends to be that very milky, creamy, a little bit floral. So here in this tea, Mr. Lin in Pingling, he's a great farmer who doesn't use any pesticides or chemical fertilizers or anything. In Pingling, which is a pristine area of northern Taiwan near Taipei. It's amazing actually that it's this beautiful area that's just outside of Taipei, which is such a huge city. But if you ever go to Taipei, I really recommend you get out of the city and go to Pingling. You'll be amazed at the nature. And anyway, so this tea is from there. And Mr. Lin, the final note has a little bit of roast, just a little bit, and it makes it much more interesting for me, at least, than if it was just a milk oolong or a milk baozong. So it has the creaminess, but it has a little bit of nuttiness that makes it more complex, and that's why I think it's fantastic. And so as I was talking about fall and different times of different weather or conditions in the fall, this would be for one of those hot days in the fall that comes out of nowhere. It's very spring-like, but still with that little bit of roast, it reminds you, no, yeah, we are in the fall. I'll continue with this one later. And now I'm going to talk about tea number 3. For tea number 3, is this tea. So the baozong you can brew in a shibori dashi. That's a good choice. Or gaiwan. I'm not into gaiwans, but many of you are, and a gaiwan will bring out that aroma, and it's also because it's a tea, but the baozong is a tea that doesn't require 100-degree water like Kung Fu tea does. You could do it at 90 or 95, and a gaiwan loses temperature, so it's not a if you have the tradition of using a gaiwan, then this is a good tea for it, because it'll be very aromatic. Okay, so this next tea I'm really excited about. It's a 2016 Wu Yi tea with the variety Shiru Xiang. Shiru Xiang, Xiang is aroma, and Shiru would be like the milk aroma, rock milk aroma. So we have the milk oolong here, and now we have rock milk. Just the poetic combination of rock and milk is really interesting. I don't think it's something that would come to a Western mind to put these two words together, rock milk. It's first of all, it's traditionally packaged in rice paper. It's beautiful. I'll bring it closer. So each one's about 8-9 grams, and it's from the factory is an old factory in Wuyi. It's the Banyan Shi Yuan factory. So what we do with these is you can just open it, like it's like a little hand folded package. Take it out like that. Take it out like that. It has a bit of glue here, so actually it's not gonna open so easily. as I'd like without ripping it. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you. So first of all, this tea is a mix of Janyan and Banyan tea, and it's in a traditional style, so it's a little bit broken also. There's some certain traditions of Kung Fu brewing that that really like a little bit of broken leaf. So there is a little bit of broken leaf. I'm going to empty it in this on this paper to show you the proper way to brew this way of brewing actually was taught to me by my Zen teacher and tea teacher Wuda of Global Tea Hut. He explained this to me, and it's really fantastic what to do with this. So this is you combine all the leaves, just put them all on a paper, and then you make 3 mounds. So you take from the middle, put on one side, and then you take from the other, put on the other side. And what we've done is we've separated in these 3 mounds the bigger leaves, the smallest leaves, and like the middle leaves, the middle-sized leaves. And when we brew Kung Fu, we want to put it in that order in there. This will make like a sandwich of the small pieces, or the little pieces will become sandwiched then in layers between the bigger leaf and the middle-sized leaves that cover it. And that way you won't, get the, especially in the old days, the teapots don't have a filter here. They just a straight spout and out comes. So out would come a lot of leaf and even block the leaves, or block with leaves. So that becomes also more important in that style of teapot to properly introduce into leaves. Like I said, this was taught to me from Muda, and if you love tea and you don't know Global Tea Hut, they are the #1 place to learn about tea, and I really, really recommend that you go to their site and sign up and receive a magazine and tea, and just learn a lot from a real fantastic teacher. Okay, so let's just add the water. We're going to preheat. This is Kung Fu brewing, and we preheat everything. And while I'm emptying this out, I'm going to heat the water a little bit more. And I didn't bring a Gen Shui to the video, so I'm just going to empty it back here. And now I'm going to add the leaves. So again, we can take this funnel, add the big leaves first, followed by the small leaves to sandwich them in between. There's even a lot of dust. You'll find that there's a lot of dust. And lastly, the middle-sized leaves that are on the other side. This is a lot of tea. It was these are 8 to 9 grams, so I didn't actually use all of it, and I put it back. And now we're gonna rinse. First, empty out this first one. And now what you want to do when brewing Kung Fu, you always want to make it really hot. So hot on the outside of the pot, add the water inside, cover, water on the outside, and out. equal and balanced. So the cups are all similar in their qualities. So this way of preferring not such a beautiful leaf, but a bit of the broken bits for a more balanced steeping works, so that already from the first steeping you have a very balanced flavor between the bigger leaves and the little leaves. And whereas in some more finer tea that doesn't have any broken bits, it's just going to be different. It's going to be more the high-end spectrum without the very small pieces that brew very intensely, very quickly. And so in Malaysia and Singapore, there are still many Kung Fu traditions where people prefer that. And so this tea was roasted 3 times. Wu Yi tea is charcoal baked or charcoal roasted, and numerous times. And because it's already, it's 2016, so it's already 5 years old, it's already lost a lot of that fresh roast, so which is great, because the fresh roast can be too much, and 5 years later, it's really mellowed down a bit. You're gonna find this tea is very much the fall. Yeah, the roast is very fall-like chestnuts. It evokes incense. Also, it's quite chocolatey and caramel. You're gonna enjoy all these flavors, but to me, more importantly, even than all these flavors, is the wee rock mineral yancha, that mineral flavor, and how it makes you feel. To me, this is it's a very relaxing tea. These heavier roasted teas I always find perfect for the afternoons. They're at dusk. They just make you feel cozy and warm. The flavor is thick and sweet, and they're wonderful for Kung Fu brewing. This tea will handle many steepings. I'll keep on sipping on this while I discuss the next tea. So each season we have a selection of teas. This season we have 4. I chose 4 teas. Sometimes it's 4, 5. It could be 3, 4, 5, 6 teas. Maybe one day it'll be just 1 or 2, or maybe one day it'll be 7 or 8. I don't know. But for now, it's always been either 3, 4, 5, or 6. This time it's 4, and a 5th one, which is the bonus tea, because we have 2 subscriptions. One is the basic, and the next one is with the bonus tea. So the last tea here, this one that's closed. This is perhaps the most special, at least for many tea lovers. This one would be even the most special of them all, in that it's a 1990 show pour. So it's a Munghai private production. No company label on it. Private production. I have one open here, so you can see the leaves, the buds, and the leaves. It's a 100-gram cake. Some small buds, some bigger leaves, but not huge leaves. So it's a very creamy and thick show pour. It's fantastic. It's already in the 90s. It was brought by this collector to Taiwan, and it's been aging there, and it has what we call the Chen Xiang aroma, right? That aroma of aged tea with it's kind of like this ginseng. I don't know how else to say it. It's like a ginseng wood aroma. In this case, I also find it to be it evokes mushrooms, but like baked mushrooms, like baked champiñones, or champiñones, I guess, or champiñones. So it's from Monghai, and of course that's another tea to brew Kung Fu. It's 1990, so that's an aged tea now. It makes me sad in a way. It makes me feel really old, like we're getting old. Like 1990 was I was just a teenager, and now we can look at this tea and say it's old, and I guess I'm getting old. It's that recognition I'm getting old. So I really like this tea. Because it suddenly makes me think, wow, the passing of time. Aged tea is fantastic for ceremonies, to celebrate the passing of time, to remember, and to remember not to forget. And it's just so many things that happen through aged tea on that level, and then on the energetic level of a fermented tea that's been, waiting that moment to brew it again, to come back to life with hot water. It's fantastic. So really that 1990 tea, if you can brew it Kung Fu in a Yixing pot, that's the best. If you can't, brew it the best way you can. I mean, mindfully, and really, really, really enjoy it. And the last tea that I'm going to show is the bonus tea. It's a Hong Cha, so it's a red tea, or what we mistakenly call black tea. It's from Thailand, and it's we call it a Thai Yingxuan Thai honey red. So it's a Yingxuan, so like the Baozong, like the milk Baozong, it's the same varietal. So we have a lot of milk going on in this form. We have the milk Oolong, the milk Baozong, the rock milk Wu Yi tea, and this Yingxuan Hong Cha. So Yingxuan Hong Cha is fantastic because you take this varietal that's famous for being used as a very floral, creamy, lightly oxidized, modern style oolong, and you brew, they let it wither for 15 hours, and then let it sit for another 5 hours oxidizing. And so it's a wonderful red, fruity, very fruity tea. So in nose, you'll notice lots of berries and apricot, and it's just fruit, lots of fruit. And then in mouth, it's very sweet, like sweet potato, sweet, and a lot of honey. There's a lot of honey, and it's a delicious sweet tea for the fall. Also, the leaves are very light and fall-like in the nature of the leaves. Yeah, they're not heavy, and you'll find that although it's a Yingxuan, a golden lily, it's actually, because of it's made as a Hong Cha, you'll find it really resembles more a Mixian, like a honey fragrance oolong, or even Oriental beauty. Not in appearance at all, or in any way is it Oriental beauty, except that it will evoke the sweetness and the honey-likeness of Oriental beauty, and even more so the Mixian, the honey fragrance red. And with that, I've explained to you the gist here. Maybe I would also say that this tea you could also brew Kung Fu. So basically, I would brew Kung Fu, the honey red, the Shopur, the Wu Yi tea definitely belong to be brewed Kung Fu in a Yixing pot if you have. If not, in another nice small teapot. I think that's everything I have to really want to tell you about these teas. I hope you will really enjoy them this fall. And now I'm going to start getting ready for planning what's next for you guys for the winter. I want to really surprise you with something really special. I told you last year that for the winter every year I wanted to choose at least one really nice aged tea. And I already chose one now in the fall. So now I'm going to be thinking of some other big surprise for you guys. Well, thank you for joining me. And if you haven't signed up yet, definitely do. Or comment below any kind of questions you have. I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you so much.